Hey guys, Ben 406 Garage. You know, I'm all about the story, so I'm gonna try and do more of these videos for you guys and tell the story of the truck, you know, where we got it, how it came to be, and what we know about the truck. Because, you know, really what we're trying to do is make sure all these trucks that we provide to everybody, the story we get, we're able to pass it on to you guys so that that stays with the truck. It doesn't die with the person that we got it from. And that's always kind of hard on these because these guys are all really elderly. So this gentleman here that we got the truck from, he actually contacted us. He saw us on YouTube and Instagram, found us online, said that he was thinking about selling this, but he didn't want to do the Craigslist and the Facebook marketplace and everybody's going to come to my house and test drive and you know all that stuff, yada yada yada. So he found us and he said, hey, I would really like it if you guys came and looked at this truck, and if it's something you like, you guys buy it. I'd rather just sell it to you and have you guys either rehome it, use it, restore it, you know, whatever you want to do. Obviously this truck does not need to be restored. It is amazing. So this gentleman served our country in Vietnam, 3 tours, 67, 68, and 69. So instantly I'm honored to buy the truck just because he's a veteran. You know, that's incredible. The freedoms that we're allowed here because of people like him. And so he got this truck in the mid 80s, around 85, 87, I believe he said. It is a 1973. It started life as a cab chassis and it was a red truck. He's not sure exactly what its life was before him because it didn't have a bed when he got it. He got it from a farmer, a gentleman who had bought it from an auction or an estate or something like that. So a little cobbled there, nothing major. So he got it in the mid 80s and his idea was, I'm going to build a flatbed, I'm going to make it completely useful for what I want to use it for, which is him and his 2 sons really like old Mustangs. So when he wasn't working, him and his sons were hunting and picking and going and buying an old Mustang and fixing it up, or they were going to like a swap meet and they were buying a motor or a tranny or whatever. So he built the flatbed and it's just an 8-foot bed. And then he built the crane on top, and the crane is a 2,500 pound crane. It's braced, framed, it's got a dog leg underneath for support and everything else. So what he would do is he'd swing the crane out. He's got it all marked for weights and pins and locations and everything like that. Hook onto the cradle, pick up a motor, swing it over, set it in the bed. No big deal. The other thing that was kind of cool is now there's a little snow on it, so it's hard to see, but there's a section right here, and then there's this here. So he had this sectioned off into 2 sections. There's another set of boards that goes here, and then there's more cross rails that go here. And he jokingly said to me once, he said, you know, well, wasn't uncommon that we'd go on a pick and we'd buy a motor, and he's like, on the way home, the wife called and she needed some bark dust. So we put a motor up here. He said, I put the dividers in. We'd stop at the landscape supply, they'd dump a load of bark dust right here, and we'd go home. And he said, you know, and then we'd pull a trailer, we'd pull a car, whatever. So he basically set it up to do everything he needed to do in his life for the last 35 years. He's retired now. His sons are grown. They have their own shops. They have their own families. So he wasn't really doing the restoration stuff anymore. And this truck was in his shop. Nothing wrong with it, but he just wasn't using it anymore. So he wanted us to take it because we knew we would either we would use it, or we would rehome it to one of you guys, and you guys would use it. So far, we've just enjoyed the hell out of using it, to be honest with you. This is a 73. It's a 1310, so that's a true 1-ton truck. Now, Ford, Chevy, and Dodge back in the day, they had 3/4 ton, they had 1-ton trucks, but International really had a true 1-ton truck, and it's really more than a 1-ton, I'll be honest with you. But they classified it as a 1-ton. The front axle of this truck is a Dana 70, not a 50 or a 44 or a 60. It's a 70, which is overkill. The rear axle of this truck is a RA15, and the RA15 stands for 15,000. So it's got a 15,000 pound load capacity rear axle on a 1-ton truck. Do that math. This truck has 488 gears. It's got factory Detroit lockers. They were optional. It has the T34 5-speed with true overdrive transmission, which means it actually goes down the road at 65, 68 miles an hour. This truck's a big block 392. It's got power steering, power brakes, and it's a factory bucket seat and console truck. Cab chassis trucks didn't usually have that. Whoever ordered this truck ordered it with power steering, power brakes, bucket seats, all the gauges. I mean, it has a lot more than a cab chassis truck normally would have. So that kind of makes it cool in that respect. Gentleman we got it from repainted it in 1991. So that paint is, how good am I at math, 30-some years old. That's a factory international color. It's that metallic brown and then the ivory white roof, this is a color scheme you would have seen back in the 70s on these trucks. It's not what it was born with, but he did a nice job on the paint. And it's stand the test of time. I mean, it's 30-year-old paint. He's kept it inside. It's, you know, it ain't a show truck, but it looks dang nice from 10, 20 feet away. We have towed our car trailer and hauled several trucks with this. Ironically, the other day we had to take our forklift into the forklift shop and have it repaired. We had to have some lift cylinders fixed and some other stuff. We were loading on the trailer and the forklift it's got a runnability issue. That's why it's going to the forklift shop on a tilt-dick trailer. Well, our forklift is a 10,000 pound lift forklift, but it weighs 18,000 pounds. So we hooked up a strap to one of our modern pickups here and went to pull it on the trailer, and the pickup just kind of went meh, and we like peeled out the tires, put it 4-wheel drive, put it 4 low, something like that. Nope, wasn't happening. Got it like 10 feet. So I went and grabbed this truck, pulled it up, hooked up this big old 3/16 chain to the back, put it in 4 low, turned the front hubs in, put it in first gear. I kid you not, it literally idled, barely above idle, and just pulled that 18,000 pound forklift right up on the trailer like it was nothing. Didn't even sweat. And I was like, yeah, that's what when they were used to be made like strong, like iron and steel and American made. Like that to me just spoke volumes. And of course we didn't get that on video, but I'll tell you guys the story anyways. So I think what we'll do now is we'll probably jump in it, take you guys for a ride, and you can see just how nice this thing goes down the road. Okay, just because these things are kind of special, I did want to talk about this real quick. I wasn't going to, but I want to share it. So when I went to pick up this truck, the gentleman I got it from, it was parked in the garage. That rotator light right there was not on the truck. Now, if you go up on the top of the headache rack up there, there's a circle plate, metal plate welded to the top of the headache rack, and it's got a hole drilled in it. That light is magnetic. So I'm walking around his garage after we pull the truck out. Unbeknownst to me, I hadn't looked at that yet. And I'm looking around on the countertops and stuff because he had some memorabilia. He wanted me to take an old grease pump and some signs and stuff, just cool stuff. And I find this rotator light kind of stashed on his workbench, kind of got some stuff, some boxes around it and stuff. And I pick it up and I hold it. Now, mind you, this is after I've paid the man. The deal's done. I own the truck. It's fine. But I pick up this light and I say, I feel like this was part of the truck. And he kind of looks at me and he bows his head like this and he's like, yeah, I was going to keep that. And I said, you're going to keep it? And he's like, yeah, I was going to put on my other truck. And he literally was just talking like under his voice like this. And I said, well, what did that cost? You know, thinking I'll just buy it from, whatever. And he goes, well, I think I spent $62 on that. So I just reach in my wallet and I grabbed a $100 bill and I'm just like, here, and I hand him a $100 bill. He's like, you're going to give me $100 for that light? And I look at the truck and I go, there's a plate and a hole and everything for the light. It belongs to the truck. It has to go in the truck. And he's like, well, okay, if you pay $100, you can have it. And I was like, it belongs here. It's part of the truck. It looks awesome. And I'd never take it off now. Now, the other thing, he was going to pull these little lights off too. There's a little bracket here and stuff like that. And I was like, what are you going to do with those? He's like, well, those are really special. And I said, well, tell me why they're special so that I can understand. Now, he didn't take them off. They were on the truck. He chose to leave them for me, but I wanted to know the story of what they were. So these are aluminum. These are glass. So he bought these at the Pomona swap meet back in the 90s. And what he told me, and he Googled it and he researched it to make sure the guy wasn't full of BS after he bought them. These lights came off of a CHP, California Highway Patrol car from 1970. And he actually pulled up the picture on his phone and showed me the picture and stuff. It's totally legit. And he has these hooked up as just flashers, as hazards, but they're on their own switch. So you can run those hazards and you can run the rotator light. He was a utility underground cable type guy, power guy, you know, Ethernet, stuff like that, his company after he was out of the military. So all his trucks are, you know, trucks like this, where they're utility trucks, they got rotators, they got flashers and stuff. So his personal truck, of course, it's going to have some special kind of flashers, it's going to have a rotator, because that's just who he is. So for me, those were super cool, and they have to go with the truck. Like, you can't take that stuff off. So I happily paid the $100 for the rotator and got the story about the flashers, which was cool. Make sure you guys like, tag, share, and follow, and help us continue to tell the stories of these trucks.